Welcome to News 9 and you are watching On Point. In today's On Point, we will discuss what the new set of exit polls on Maharashtra and the impact of Maharashtra election results will have on national politics. But before that, headlines. It's a leadership summit like no other. News 9 Global Summit kicks off in Stuttgart, Germany from November 21st to 23rd, bringing together a diverse group of stakeholders from India and Germany. Prime Minister Modi will deliver the keynote address at the News 9 Global Summit, where he will outline his vision for a Viksit Bharat. "50 civilians killed in attack on passenger vans in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa." Russia launches intercontinental ballistic missile on Ukraine. US authorities charge businessman Gautam Adani and others over an alleged $250 million plot to bribe Indian officials. Adani Group denies allegation. CBI starts probe in Maharashtra Bitcoin scam case, 6 named in FIR. Manipur relaxes curfew in 5 districts, but schools, colleges and universities in the valley will remain closed until November 23rd. Delhi air quality improves to very poor after 5 days, severe pollution. And the International Criminal Court issues arrest warrants for Israeli leader Netanyahu and Gallant for alleged war crimes in Gaza.
ये इतिहास होगा, रिकॉर्ड होगा।
एग्जिट पोल पर प्रवक्ता बोलते हैं, नेता बोलते नहीं है।
4 दिन की चांदनी, फिर अंधेरी रात है।
170 के ऊपर महाराष्ट्र में एमवे की सीटें आएंगी।
महायुति सरकार एक हैट्रिक मिलने जा रही है।
इस देश में एग्जिट पोल एक फ्रॉड है।
Axis My India has released its exit poll for Maharashtra. Let's take a look at the poll that has come out face by face. Maharashtra is a state which will have an impact on entire country. The result will have an impact on Uttar Pradesh election. Maharashtra as a state has the highest GDP. It's industrialized. It has many regions, it's diverse. And the regions affect every part of the country. The northern parts will affect Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. The eastern part will have an impact on Telangana and Andhra. The southern part will have an impact on Karnataka. A part of it will have an impact on Chhattisgarh as well. So Maharashtra will have an impact. So let me take you through the data that has been released. And we will go region by region. And it says that the Mahayuti is doing well. So let's take a look at the first region, which is Mumbai, the urban seat which has 36 seats. I'll straight away go to the data without wasting any more time. So in this data, it just says that in this exit poll, Mahayuti, Maharashtra exit poll, Mahayuti, Mahavikas Aghadi, and you look at the data, 14 seats right now to Mahavikas Aghadi, and 7 seats to Mahayuti. This is my Axis data. Let me introduce the guests also. Ajit, senior journalist and psephologist. Renia Ibrahim, senior journalist, Maharashtra. Jayant Mainkar, political analyst. Shaina NC will be joining us later. Brijesh Pandey from studio. Before I introduce other data, let me straight away go to Ajit. Ajit, you know, the reason why I'm doing this is My Axis and C voters will be coming out with their data, and this will be far more detailed because last time My Axis said that, you know, their sample size would be bigger. the question on which I ended my show yesterday, and I'll start my show on that account. Will this state impact national politics, Ajit?
Yes, absolutely. No doubt about that. If you think of India's projection to build a $5 trillion economy, the first state that is going to be the $1 trillion economy is actually Maharashtra. Number two comes Uttar Pradesh, although Uttar Pradesh is a much larger state compared to Maharashtra in terms of population. The reason being, Maharashtra has from the very beginning, in fact, even before Indian independence, I think, remember the Bombay Plan period, Maharashtra has always been the financial capital of India. It's almost like New York. And what the impact of it, the impact of the polls, who will win, is going to have a major impact on the overall economy as well as Maharashtra's economy. So it is very, very important. We call it in psephological language, it's called the electoral business cycle. So if, for example, Mahayuti wins, X will happen. If MBA wins, Y will happen. And basically what it means is that the political establishment which will come to power will basically determine the patterns of investment, the patterns of public expenditure, the patterns of various other policies, economic policies that are passed by the state government. So yes, I think it will be very different, either of the governments when they come to power, they'll be very different in terms of the kind of expenditure that will take place, given the fact that the kind of constituents, the kind of supporters that support them are very different. For example, one is relying heavily on OBC voters, Maratha voters, let's say. The other is relying very heavily on the minorities, on the so-called Dalit voters and the sort of Pichhada voters. So obviously the patterns of expenditure is going to be very, very different. So yes, I think as I again pointed out, it's the largest economy of the country. It is doing rather well despite the fact that it has a very heavy public debt at this moment. And number two, the fact that the patterns of political expenditure become very different when different political parties come to power. In this case, they are almost diagonally opposite each other.
Diagonally opposite each other. I'm sorry, there was a mistake in the graphic. Let me read the correct graphic to you. It was an error. So the graphic is which we I'm reading out to you is in the Mumbai region. Mahayuti has got 22 seats and MVA has got 14 seats. Mahayuti has got 45% of the vote and MVA has got 43% of the vote. Mr. Mainkar, do you think that the fight is close, 45-43%, but Mahayuti seems to be getting good number of seats? Why in Mumbai, sir?
There was yesterday that comparatively compared to the usual urban flock of voters, yesterday there was a bit better vote, I can say, a bit better, not by very much. But I don't agree with this 22-14 directly, because when you are saying Mahayuti 22, because Ajit Pawar's party, barring this Nawab Malik, it is unseen. And Nawab Malik also pitted against another formidable candidate. So it is unseen. Secondly, what about Shinde has got his clout mainly in Thane. Even Shinde could score one seat in Mumbai, in Lok Sabha, that too by a whisker, by just 48 votes. So, I mean, if you have the data, details of the Mahayuti getting 22, how, which party, how much, that will be more better. But as per my knowledge, at least 10 seats are going each to Congress and Shiva Sena Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray group. That is 20. Among the remaining 15 seats, there will be, because Sharad Pawar's party has a very small presence in this city. Hardly, they are also interested in that. Apart from that, Swara Bhaskar's husband, he is contesting. Otherwise, they have hardly any interest. So maybe this Mahayuti would come close to 10 seats, but not something like what you have stated, 22. That's what I feel so. and I would be happy if you give the Mahayuti's breakup also.
Absolutely, I'll be giving it. We'll go phase by phase. I thought Mumbai is where the maximum fight, Aditya Thackeray, where the juice is. It's an urban seat. So this time, what I've decided is I'll go phase by phase. Vidarbha, Saurashtra, Ratnagiri area. Yes.
Can I say something about Warli and Mahim if you want right now?
I'll come to that little later. First, Brijesh.
Well, the figures which we have, since we have access to the entire gig, I think it is pointing towards a massive Mahayuti jump, and this will have serious repercussions on national level, because a big win in Maharashtra will bolster BJP, and it will take BJP to 2019 time where they will now start treating 2024 general election as an aberration. The confidence of Bharatiya Janata Party will come back completely. I think it will be end of the road or end of tunnel, as far as not exactly end of tunnel, but it will be some sort of existential crisis for Uddhav Bala Thackeray.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see how much seats Eknath Shinde party wins.
A quick comment from you, Ajit. If you look at a quick comment from you.
No, I think I would agree with Brijesh.
No. Let me at least take my question. My question is, if you look at the data of 2004, 2009, even 1999, the political parties who do well in Delhi and Mumbai, they end up making government. They are not bellwether, but those are not because they are urban, but they are pan-India. They reflect the national sentiment. These urban centers, especially Mumbai and Delhi. So, if you don't do well here, it has a bearing. What do you have to say?
Well, see, this is not true in assembly case, right? I mean, take Delhi. AAP wins in Delhi. That's neither the political bellwether nor it dominates Indian politics. Let me make one point before we go region by region. Something very important. This time the turnout figures is a 20-year high. In fact, the turnout is almost 68%. Now, let me point out two things. One, high turnout tells you that there is massive political competition, very tight fight. Both sides have ended up bringing a lot of new voters to support them, number one. But number two, what I have seen, and this is a trend I have been watching, let's say since 2014 onwards, but more recently, whenever there is a very high turnout, the BJP ends up doing very well. And the reason is the BJP, because of the BJP, and in this case, of course, the NDA, because it's the Mahayuti, because they have extraordinary, let's say, machine politics, because they have great organizations, so they are able to mobilize new voters. And by mobilizing new voters, what it does is it raises the bar in the entire state, and that gets them the edge over the rival. And that happened when we were even analyzing, the Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Chhattisgarh, because everyone was thinking that the BJP won't do so well, the NDA, but it ended up sweeping those states, if you remember, in the state assembly polls. So this has happened in Maharashtra. So the moment I saw 68% turnout, I kind of jumped, which means I would argue by default favorable to Mahayuti, number one. Number two, it also shows very tight competition. Now, if you look at the numbers that you have given for the Mumbai 36 seats, look at the difference in terms of percentage vote. A mere 2%, but see the difference in terms of seats. It's almost 1422, almost 50% increase. So that's a typical cube law, right? That even if there is a 2% difference of vote, it's like a winner taking majority. And that's what is happening here. So the Mahayuti is again getting an edge. Of course, we will go region by region. Urban voters anyway are much more pro-BJP, much more pro-Mahayuti than rural voters. So I have a feeling if we go into the other areas, we might see a different...
Okay, let me put out Konkan. I'm putting out the Konkan-Thane. Let's go by region by region. So this is Konkan-Thane. Konkan-Thane, Mahayuti, 24 seat, 50% vote. Mahavikas Aghadi, 33% of the vote. Others, 15% of the vote. Jayant? Your thoughts? 50% to Mahayuti, 33% to Mahavikas Aghadi. Why? And second question to you is that is it correct for me to say that in this area the candidates are first and the parties are second?
Yes, candidates are first, and so Rane. Eknath Shinde has the dominance in Thane city and Thane rural areas. Then there is a Bahujan Vikas Aghadi, which has got dominance in Vasai Virar 2 days before it made a hangama. So there are pockets where is the Rane's dominance is there. There are pockets, of course, in the entire Thane district belongs to him. Then Bahujan Vikas Aghadi. So that way, and Congress has a very stingy presence in in Konkan area. Once it was strong, but Congress has no presence now. NCP also has no presence. So that is why it's a straight contest between Mahayuti and Maha Aghadi. And so here I accept the upper hand of Mahayuti in Thane, Ratnagiri, Sindhudurga, and Raigad, the 4 districts, and Palghar, these 5 districts of Maharashtra.
Brijesh.
Well, I think, I was looking at the percentage, and if you look at the percentage, it's almost a
that's what caught my eye. 13.
It's a clear sweep, and if you look at the number, to be a 2% difference, the difference was 7-8 seats. But look at this, I think if I go by the kind of percentage which Mahayuti has polled, I think the numbers of Mahayuti can rise more. 24, I personally believe is a much less number which has been given to Mahayuti. I think the numbers, this number of seats could rise, and Mahavikas Aghadi could go a bit less.
Mahavikas, this Konkan area used to be a very good stronghold of the Congress party, Ranes and other people. Why has that turn taken place, Brijesh?
Well, because, Congress is now a pale shadow of the party it used to be. Earlier it used to be powerful in big states. Earlier it used to be the only national party which has a pan-India presence. But as slowly and slowly they started ceding away space to regional parties, and, all these very ambitious political leaders, they felt like, that there is no future left with the Congress party, and that is the reason why the Ranes of the world and everyone made a change, and they went and joined the Bharatiya Janata Party. Plus, as Mr. Manika was saying, that this is also a stronghold, a citadel of Eknath Shinde, and that is what is reflecting in the astronomical numbers percentage wise, the percentage which is referring there, because it shows almost a near stranglehold as far as Eknath Shinde group is concerned, and it is reflecting in the numbers.
Okay. I'm also joined by Mr. Kaushik, Chief Spokesperson. Mahesh Tapase joins me from Mumbai. He is the spokesperson of the NCP, Sharad Pawar. Thank you very much, sir, for joining me. So, how do you look at these results? In fact, most of the results in which it seems that the BJP combine is coming to power in Maharashtra.
Well, the results are yet to be out. It's just an exit poll. And a similar exit poll was conducted post the Lok Sabha elections, claiming 400 par, 400 par, but they all failed. The exit polls, the result of the actual election was absolutely opposite to that of the exit polls. And similarly, in the state of Maharashtra, we have seen the Legislative Assembly elections held yesterday. And we feel that whatever exit polls are being projected, I definitely give credence to the work that the people have done. But we have also done our polls. We have also done our exit polls. We have also done sabhas. Pawar Sahab has taken almost 70 plus sabhas. Congress leaders, the Bala Sahib Thackeray. And our sabhas have been witnessing a crowd of minimum 10,000 to upwards of 35 to 40,000. So we feel that with the renewed voter turnout, which is almost 60, which is such a high number, and after 3 decades, such a high number has come. So this is definitely the agriculturist wanting to ask the government why his dues were not given. It's the youth who's demanding to know how his jobs are being taken away by other states. And so this is the reason why a large number of people have come out and voted. And it's a definitely anti-incumbency vote. This is the first reaction that I want to give.
First reaction, in this, the important aspect in the Konkan area is the difference of vote. Because in Mumbai, it is not more than
It is 2%.
2%, but in this area it's more than 16%, 17%.
33.
So I'll come to you,
33%.
Ajit, on this, because that is something which just caught my eye. The difference of vote in Mumbai is very less, but in Konkan it has become huge. We'll come to it after a short break.
India spends $75 billion on foreign cargo vessels.
$75 billion per annum. You know, that's a lot of money.
Imagine a situation where 95% of our cargo is coming on ships which are not owned by us. If we are still not prepared, if someone were to say that we are not going to give you ships, then we'll be stuck. So the entire nation's economy is at risk.
We are very clear that shipping is also strategic, because without that you can't really be the third largest economy in the world.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
The next Indian icons, beating everyone on the globe. Prepare for breathtaking performance. B6E and XEV9E. Mahindra's electric origin SUVs. Catch them at Unlimit India.
Okay, so the data has come out of the entire regions from Maharashtra, but as a question which I have for Ajit. Ajit, in Mumbai, the difference vote percentage is less. In Konkan, it is pretty much up there. Why this variation? Can such variations happen in elections in states?
Yes, of course it can happen. One simple reason is that in Mumbai, the turnout is much lower than in the other regions. If you look at the overall turnout, I think is 68%. Mumbai was somewhere in the 50s something. I don't remember the exact figure. So that's one reason, of course. Secondly, as Brijesh rightly pointed out, this is Shinde's area. And don't forget, Shinde has been the incumbent chief minister. So this is what I would call an incumbency advantage rather than a fierce anti-incumbency. Obviously, the kind of giveaways that he has done, the Ladli Behna scheme that we talked about, several other shops that he has talked about. This region being closer to Mumbai, it has probably achieved, the thing has already reached, the delivery system is better there. And they see Shinde as their leader. In fact, Shiv Sena, this is the new face of Shiv Sena. So I think that must be one of the reasons why in this region the gap is 17%. I think the average gap that I had seen earlier was 11% across the state, but in Mumbai just 2%, here 17%. Therefore, the average comes to about 11 to 12%. So
the fight in Mumbai was closer.
Sweep. This is a sweep for the Mahayuti.
Yes, this is a sweep. So, if this is a sweep, there's another question, but I'll come to it a little later. If it's a sweep, 50% of the vote, it's not reflecting in the seats. At 50%, the winning share should have been much higher, but, it's 20-40. Now, let me play out the data from Marathwada. And Marathwada is very, very interesting. In Marathwada, Mahavikas Aghadi is 38%, 15%, and Mahayuti is 30%, which is 45%. So, Mr. Mainka, my question to you is, what happened to the Maratha anger? What happened to the Maratha issue? What happened to the Jarange Patil? What happened to all those issues? It means that Eknath Shinde has been able to deal with it, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. First of all, Jarange Patil has, in a way, withdrawn his candidature, as we all know. He has stated that no one from my side will contest the election, and that was significant. Now, the real question ahead. So, actually, Marathas are the traditional voters of Congress and NCP. But now here, data is saying that here also Mahayuti is doing well. So it must be due to the infighting between the three-party alliance. That should be the major reason. Otherwise, based on only the tally of all the three parties, the result could have been different. But it's not so, and there are some pockets where there are differences between Sena, Congress, and even NCP. And that's
the difference again is 7%. You see, the difference again is 7%.
More than that, look at the number of percentage for Mahayuti. It's 45%. Almost half of the
7% difference in any area is a huge difference. In Konkan, you had 17%, and here you have 7%. So it means that there is a huge discrepancy in terms of voters' choices. So the larger question is, what happened to the Maratha issue? And how did Eknath Shinde manage it? The data shows, I think he has managed it.
Well, I think, not only Eknath Shinde managed it, I think the BJP has managed it pretty well. And BJP has managed it pretty well. And all the talks of, how Eknath Shinde, the Maratha agitation is going to dent Mahayuti in a big way, it just simply petered out. And it's like the Marathas were more than happy. And what happened in Lok Sabha, we are seeing a 180-degree change, and we are seeing a completely different picture. The reverse, there's no sympathy for the Thakres. There's no, the kind of effort which Sharad Pawar put, the entire Maratha agitation, it seems that none of that is having any kind of effect. They are almost, the difference in number of seats is 15 and 30.
Or has Ajit Pawar really damaged? Or has Ajit Pawar really damaged them in this?
If you ask me, if you go by the other region as well, Western Maharashtra as well, where, it's more of a Ajit Pawar versus Sharad Pawar fight, I think, going by the numbers, it looks like that Ajit Pawar may end up scoring more numbers than
let me take this question to Mr. Mahesh. Mr. Mahesh, your assessment.
See, it's too premature to say that Mahayuti will be 45% and MBA will be 38%. I see. We have also canvassed very extensively. See, Mahayuti may have a little advantage as far as this Ladli Behn scheme is there, how Mr. Jha mentioned, but that does not absolve them or their responsibility towards the agrarian crisis, towards the unemployment crisis, towards the loss of investment opportunities in Maharashtra. So this is like more of a cover-up, timed only for the sake of elections. If the government was very serious of giving Ladli Behn benefits to the ladies, then they could have done it 2 years ago. Why did they time it right at the time of election? So the government was very, very categorically, it wanted to hide its failure on many fronts and offer a soap, and this is what they have done. There might be some benefit to the ruling party, but that does not absolve them of their responsibility for the damage that has happened to the state of Maharashtra. I can tell you with confidence, like when Sharad Pawar introduced reservation for women in local self-government, there was no election at that point of time, and it is freely accepted, and all parties across India have accepted it, across various state governments have accepted it, and now we have a reservation in the proposed legislation in the legislature and then the parliament also. So that was not timed for election. Nothing was for the sake of it was purely a welfare measure which powers have introduced in the state of Maharashtra. So was the Mandal Commission.
I understand that exit polls are now God's word, I understand that. Exit polls have gone horribly wrong also in past, but this time around they went wrong completely in Haryana election.
I think,
and they'd gone wrong
back to back they have gone wrong.
Back to back. I understand that. So, Mr. Mahesh, I concede that point. So let me rephrase my question. What do you think in Marathwada was the biggest issue? You put it out to me. What was the biggest issue? What was the issue on which your party fought elections?
We fought purely on development. We have been telling the government, if you're serious for Maratha reservation, tell us what you are proposing to them. The Chief Minister held meeting with Jarange, the Deputy Chief Minister held meeting with Jarange, and we don't know. I mean, what have you spoken to the Maratha community? Pawar Sahib, when we were in government in 2014, we did give reservation to the Maratha community and also to the Muslim community at that point of time. But why the government failed to continue the same from 2014, 2019, 19 to 2024? We have been demanding time and again that an all-party meet may be chaired by the Prime Minister of India. Try to make a consensus whether the 50% slab of the constitutional reservation can be increased to a certain extent. So all these things we have been proposing, but the government is not listening to us. They are just making... It is the same BJP who said that we'll give reservation in the first cabinet meeting. Could they do it? They could not do it. You have to have a national level, some policy changes in the central ministry to effect this kind of a change so that it stands the judicial test. But the government is not serious. They are just playing with the sentiments of the people, and that is how Jarange Patil came in. Jarange Patil came in. He was. He took up the Maratha reservation issue in a very big way. He was very close to the Chief Minister. I do not know what happened, and suddenly Jarange Patil had a fallout with the government.
Okay, I think there's a bit of a freeze. Ajit, looking at these numbers, I'm not going to Western Maharashtra. I'm not going to the Northern Maharashtra. I'm not going to Vidarbha right now. Numbers. I want your comment on the numbers. In Konkan, it is 17%. In Marathwada, it is again 7%.
See, these are basically very high swings, number one. And number two, this is the result of what I keep pointing out, the high turnout formula which the BJP has perfected. If you look at every election from 2014, the BJP has won massively, except for 2024, because of the fact that it has brought about very large, what we call mobilized vote. That means first-time voters, if you want to call it, not necessarily young. These could be voters who are, let's say, 40-year-old or 45-year-old, but who has not voted in the past. For example, a lot of these voters in the north are the BJP brings to fore are those voters, for example, who do, Bhavanam Kevalam, those guys who walk all the way to the different pilgrim spots. So those kind of voters who have never voted ever in the past, the BJP has a great election formula to bring them into voting, and that kind of boosts the BJP's strength. So I think two things are happening here. There is a massive swing in favor of the so-called Mahayuti. That's why you see such gaps like 17% vote, which basically means the BJP, the Mahayuti is going to sweep Maharashtra, which was not what the other pollsters were pointing out. They kept saying it's a tight fight, it's a tight fight. But the only tight fight that I saw until the figures that you showed me is in the Mumbai region. But in every other region, it seems to be a sweep.
Now let me show you Vidarbha also. Then let me play out that. Let me show you Vidarbha also. We'll go region by region. So this is Vidarbha. Mahayuti, 39 seats. Vikas Aghadi, 20 seats. Mahayuti is getting 48%. Mahavikas Aghadi is getting 36%. And again you have a difference. And it is a huge difference. It has a difference of 12%. It's a 12%.
I think, what is, as I was doing the maths of calculating the number of seats which, the 5 regions are showing, I think, the bigger challenge and the key question which will be asked, once you've shown all these 5 plates is, Karthike, as to who is going to be the Chief Minister. And the reason I say so is because the numbers which you are reflecting clearly shows that all the 3 parties, which is Eknath Shinde's party, which is BJP, and also Ajit Pawar, NCP, they all must have performed well for the Mahayuti to get this kind of number. And if they all have performed well, then the bigger challenge would be that would Mr. Eknath Shinde cede the seat of the Chief Minister to a Bharatiya Janata Party, who of course would be the largest party going by the number of seats they have fought.
Mr. Mainkar, your comment on this difference of vote share and the seat, because this difference, I'm just thinking should translate into more seats. 12%.
Actually, we must. I mean, while anchoring, you had said it. The answer, or I think someone has said that 68% is the average voting turnout, and that is also more important. So if it will be more. You are saying the 17% or whatever the difference. It's because of this massive turnout. I mean, 68% is comparatively in semi-urban areas also it's a good turnout. But I have some reservations about these figures. Originally I belong to Vidarbha region. Now I am settled in Mumbai, okay. 64 seats are there in Vidarbha. And as per what the data that I am having with me, I mean, my survey, my own calculations that indicate that at least 25 to 30 seats are going in favor of Congress. There was an attack incident on Anil Deshmukh. Mahesh may correct me if I am wrong, but I think NCP is also contesting 11 seats, and at least 5 seats NCP is in a position to garner against the backdrop of that incident. Simultaneously, Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray group, may have less presence, but it has some presence in that. So total, I'm expecting somewhere 35 to 40 seats for Maha-Aghadi. I'm having some differences, though I agreed with you when you came out with this Thane to Konkan area. I said you're right because there are dominance of Ranis and mainly Eknath Shinde. I accept it, and even Hitendra Thakur. But here,
Mainkar, I think there's a bit of a problem. There's a bit of a problem in your voice. I'll come back to you because we have got northern Maharashtra. We have got sea voters data with us. We're going to put that on here, but it's time for a short break, and then we're going to compare both the polls after a short break.
India spends $75 billion on foreign cargo vessels.
$75 billion per annum. That's a lot of money.
Imagine a situation where 95% of our cargo is coming on ships which are not owned by us. If we are still not prepared, if someone were to say that we are not going to give you ships, then we'll be stuck. So the entire nation's economy is at risk.
We are very clear that shipping is also strategic, because without that you can't really be the third largest economy in the world.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Catch the next Indian icons. B6E and XEV9E. Mahindra's electric origin SUVs at Unlimit India on the 26th of November at 6 p.m.
यही मौका है बिजनेस को बढ़ाने का, पर पैसा
अपनी सुपर पावर यूज करने का टाइम आ गया है।
अब टेंशन मत लीजिए, IIF IIFL फाइनेंस से झटपट गोल्ड लोन लीजिए और बिजनेस आगे बढ़ाइए।
आपके जैसे सुपर हीरोज ऐसी छोटी मोटी प्रॉब्लम से थोड़ी ना रुकते हैं, इसीलिए लाइफ जब भी आगे बढ़ने का मौका दे तो अपनी सुपर पावर, अपना गोल्ड यूज करिए और IIFL फाइनेंस से गोल्ड लोन लीजिए।
IIFL फाइनेंस करता है सीधी बात।
And welcome back, and let me take you through the final data that has come in. I have shown you the data from Mumbai, I have shown you data from Marathwada, I have shown you data from Vidarbha, I have shown you data from Konkan. And let me take you through two other sets of data, the northern part of Maharashtra. Let me play that data out for you. This is Maharashtra, the northern Maharashtra, 53% and 32%. 53% and 32%, Mahayuti 38, MVA 7, which means that the vote percentage is the difference in the vote percentage is much higher. And the southern Maharashtra, let me play out that data. The southern Maharashtra, it's western Maharashtra, again Mahayuti is 48% and 41% is Mahavikas Aghadi. This is more than 27%. More than 27%.
Karthikeya, I would say that, if you go by the numbers and, the previous, if we can show the previous graphic.
All the graphics will be played one by one. All the graphics have been played one by one.
Look at this. Northern Maharashtra, the seat results are also showing MVA 7, Mahayuti 38, and look at the difference in terms of percentage poll. It's 21. Which is phenomenal. And if you look at the overall percentage, Karthikeya, they are, it's an exit poll, I would repeat again, and after, November 2023, exit polls are having a terrible time in justifying their existence to the world. But if you go by this data, which is being provided by Axis My India poll, there is a there's a clean sweep by Mahayuti. And I think if you go by the difference in percentage, and if that holds, I would feel that, the numbers in seat for Mahayuti may rise by at least 10 to 12 more seats. So, we are staring at a complete wipeout of Mahavikas Aghadi if these numbers and these percentage holds, Karthikeya.
Okay, wonderful. We are also being joined by Shaina NC. Once she is through, I'll directly go to Shaina NC. And, you are there? So, well, the numbers are there for you. I'll just shorten this question. What do you make of the numbers?
Firstly, let me please say that exit polls haven't been the exact poll on multiple occasions. And having said that, I think in this particular one, we are going to cross every single exit poll. Reason being that, when you get information on ground, when you get people who have resonated with what work you have done, whether you take the Trans-Harbour Link, the metros, the kind of, existing projects, be it the bullet train, the airports, the families that have been impacted by this kind of infrastructure is one part of the debate. Then you have the Ladki Behna Yojana, where the Chief Minister has impacted 2.5 crore women by giving them 7,500 directly into their bank account. So I just want to say, for all those who are just constant.
Okay, so this is the lay of the land, but the larger issue is why such variation in voting percentage? Ajit, to you, 53-32. So look at the voting percentage difference, 38-7. This is just too huge. Northern Maharashtra 53%, 32%. So how is this variation going to work out? Either it is a sweep, or we are not getting a part of it.
This is a complete sweep.
Either it is a sweep, or we are not getting a part of it right. Ajit.
Three sort of responses. One, if you take exit poll data, that has a certain constraint, right? It's a certain size. Let's assume that this is 50,000 voters, or let's say it's 1 lakh voters. Normally, you can't have an exit poll more than that. When you start breaking into the regions, then the numbers tend to get smaller and smaller. And one of the problems with that is that the law of large numbers is not satisfied. Therefore, it is possible that what Pradeep Gupta is pointing out, the Axis poll, that it's almost like 200 seats for Mahayuti, 100 for, let's say, MVA, might be right. But each of his regional breaks may not be right. Why? Again, as I'm pointing out, the regional numbers in the poll itself is too small to be very accurate. So that is one possibility. The number two possibility is that in the so-called non-urban areas, which this one is clearly showing, there is a bigger sweep compared to the urban area, like Mumbai area, for example. So obviously over there in Mumbai, for example, the Shiv Sena Sharad Pawar probably has a great organization, but in each of the regions it doesn't. Like for example, in Vidarbha, this is the region of Gadkari.
I just hold your thought for a minute. Ajit, just hold thought for a minute, because there's a data of C voters that is coming. We just have to balance it out. We don't have it on a screen, but it is the C voters is saying something very, very different. Brijesh, just read that out.
Well, what they have done is, out of 288 seats, what they have done is that they have shown, how much NDA has got, how much India has got, but they have also put two, columns which are very interesting. One is clear seats and one is TCTC, which is too close to call. So the thing is that what they have done is that if you go by Mumbai, they again they have shown like 17 to NDA, 10 to India and 1 to others. So they're saying clear is 28, but they said 8 seats are too close to call. So what is happening is that most of the seats and the kind of huge differences which we are witnessing in Access My India poll, that is not there in the this C voters poll. They are saying that there is a difference, and that difference number is 2% to 1% or 1.5%. What they are saying is that, like in the state, in Vidarbha, they are giving 18 seats to NDA. So Mr. Manekar, what you are saying?
Wait a minute. So this is C voters. It's saying 112, 104 and 11. 112, 104 and 11. Your comments, Shaina, your comments on this?
Look, rather than getting into just numbers, if you view why is the voter choosing the Mahayuti, there are multiple reasons, right? You have a developmental agenda, you have impacted the lives of Labhartis. There are 4 main vote banks that the Prime Minister has talked about. One are the farmers, one are the voters, who are the women, one are the youngsters, and one are, of course, the below poverty line. So in that sense, I think all this logic sums up and adds up. If you look at the voting percentage on all the various platforms, you will see the difference between the Mahayuti and the MVA, which is considerable. So I'm not going to be surprised if it is more than a hat-trick, a landslide victory. And trust me, this will be delivered on the premise, because you also have the RSS being extremely active on ground. You have voters who realize how important it is to come out and make that special effort to vote. The voting percentage has gone up. If you take my constituency, for example, Mumbai Devi, last time they voted 44%. This time it is 48%. So it's a substantive 4% increase, and that is the voters that really want to make sure that development is the only agenda and not all this Jat-Paat, Dharm ki Rajniti where you're just playing your appeasement to segments and sections of society.
Okay, I thank you. I thank all of you. I thank all of you who have joined me on this. I've really run short of time. And let me tell our viewers that a very important summit is taking place, Stuttgart Summit. And this summit will be addressed by Prime Minister Modi. And now, without wasting any more time, let's listen in from Barun Das, the MD and CEO of the TV9 network. He sheds light on the key highlights and top speakers